How's it going, everyone? Blake here, and the NFL draft has come and passed, and what a year it was. A lot of surprising picks. I went back and I looked at my first mock draft I did last year. I forget the date, but I think it was a few days after the 2020 NFL draft. Now, I did get a few picks right. I was spot on about Trevor Lawrence going number 1, and after that, it was pretty much all downhill. So overall, although I think I was only 1 for 1, I did, like I said, have a lot of players that ended up going in the first round. I just had them in different spots. So with that being said, it's never too early to get these mock drafts for 2022 going. So we're on ProFootballNetwork.com using their 2022 NFL Mock Draft Simulator. As you can see right here, these are all the teams listed in the current order. My guess is these are based on like the win totals, the projected win totals. I didn't make this order. This is what I was given. So if you're upset that your team is too high or too low, like I said, I didn't make this. I think that they are just basing this off of the projected win totals for the 2022 NFL season. I mean, the NFL draft for next year is literally over a year away, so there's a chance that this entire mock is going to be completely different than what it looks a year from now. Also, these rankings are the rankings that Pro Football Network has given me. These aren't my rankings. This is not how I'd rank players. This is just what I was given. So again, we're going to go based off this, and we are going to do this mock draft pretty much as best as we can, given the circumstances of, one, we don't know what players are going to come out of nowhere, what players are going to fall. I mean, a year ago, I don't think anyone would have had Zach Wilson as the number 2 overall pick. So then again, don't read too much into this. This is just a video for fun. Again, doing a way too early 2022 NFL mock draft. Pretty much just at this point of the year, what is it, May 3rd, how I potentially think the NFL draft might fall, where I think certain players might go. So without further ado, let's get this 2022 way too early NFL mock draft underway. So right now they have the Lions having the number 1 overall pick, because the Lions, they're not going to be fairly good. For me, I've been saying this for months and months. I think the best quarterback in this upcoming draft class is going to be Sam Howell. I like him the most. Now, obviously, a lot can change, but from what I've seen the last few years, I really like Sam Howell. I think he's a really good quarterback. And the Lions, they have Jared Goff this year. He's not going to be in their future. I think they're going to go quarterback, and I think Sam Howell, again, a lot can change, but I think Sam Howell is going to be the quarterback there, taking to pick number 1. Now, you got the Texans sitting at 2. I personally think the Texans are going to finish with the number 1 overall pick. I just think that team is bad. I think that they have nothing going for them. I think they're going to finish with the number 1 overall pick, but this has them finishing with number 2, and I think they need a quarterback as well. So we go to offense, we go to quarterbacks. This is going to be tough because there are a lot of good quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class. I'm going to get to that later in a bit. As of right now, I do have Spencer Rattler going number 2. I think the potential is there with him. I'm really interested to see how he does at Oklahoma this year, but as of right now, I got Sam Howell as my quarterback 1, Spencer Rattler is my quarterback 2, and let me just say this about the quarterback class now, because I'm sure I'm going to be getting to a good amount later in this video. This quarterback class, they don't have the guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, where they have such upside, but I do think in a way, this upcoming quarterback class is a lot deeper. I think there are a lot of good quarterbacks in this upcoming class. I mean, obviously, Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler, I'm really high on them. Kedon Slovis, I think he has a chance to be a top 10 pick. Desmond Ridder, I think he has a chance to be a top 10 pick. Jaden Daniels from my Arizona State Sun Devils, I've been saying this for months as well. He's the most slept on quarterback in the entire country. I think he is phenomenal. I think he's a really good prospect. Still has a lot of things he has to build on. I'm not exactly certain if he's going to come out next year. I think he might return for his senior season, but this is definitely a name to keep an eye on. I know a lot of people are really high in Carson Strong, quarterback from Nevada. He had a phenomenal season, very underrated season last year. And again, people think JT Daniels, he has a chance to be a top 10 pick. Really liked what I saw with him in that small sample size last year with Georgia. Brock Purdy, again, another quarterback that can be a late first rounder potentially. Here's a name that I do want to mention. That's Malik Willis, quarterback for Liberty. Reading some mock drafts, there are people out there that currently have him as the number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft. Now, I don't know if I'm going to go that far by saying he's quarterback 1. This is definitely a guy you should keep an eye on, Malik Willis. I mean, he had a great season last year for Liberty. Granted, it is Liberty, but it doesn't necessarily matter nowadays where you play, where we've had North Dakota State have top 3 picks, twice in the last 5-6 years. So Malik Willis, he's a guy that I really want to keep an eye on. He's ranked 195th here. I think I'm going to have him go in this first round, but again, don't let these rankings fool you. I'm really excited to see what he does in 2022. I don't think it's as strong as this past year's was, where I don't think the talent is as good, but this is deep. I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks. There are definitely 8 to 10 quarterbacks I could see going in the first 2 or first 3 rounds. So a lot of quarterbacks I really like in this upcoming draft class. All right, so up next at number 3, we got the Jaguars. I don't think they're going to finish at 3. I think they're going to finish a lot higher. I think they're going to win probably 5, 6, maybe 7 games this upcoming season. So I'm not expecting them to be picking at 3, but for the sake of this video, if they are, Trevor Lawrence, he has enough weapons. I think the Jags defense definitely has improved. So I think if you're the Jags, if you're sitting there at number 3, Evan Neal, in my opinion, is going to be the best offensive tackle prospect in the draft next year. The dude's a stud at Alabama. Again, I don't think the Jags are going to be picking at 3, but you got to protect Trevor Lawrence. He's your quarterback for hopefully the next 10, 15 years. So you might as well start by getting an all-pro, again, who in my opinion is the best offensive tackle in next year's draft class, in Evan Neal. All right, the Eagles are picking at 4. Again, they have a lot that they can work on. And for them, I like Derek Stingley. I mean, Derek Stingley, he is an absolute stud. I mean, this guy was arguably the best cornerback as a freshman. He was arguably the best cornerback in the country as a sophomore, and he's going to be the best cornerback in college football, in my opinion, next season. Him and Kayvon Thibodeau, I think they're going to be going back and forth for the best defensive prospect in this draft. But the Eagles, I think they can use a cornerback. Again, Derek Stingley, he is a fantastic prospect. So I think for the Eagles, smart pick, go with Derek Stingley there. You got the Bengals sitting here at 5. Again, this is another team. I don't think they're necessarily going to be picking this high. I could see them winning 6, 7, maybe even 8 games this upcoming season. But for the sake of this video, we got them at 5. Evan Neal will be a fantastic pick for them because they thought it'd be a great idea to take a wide receiver as opposed to a generational talent in Penei Sewell, which I don't understand. So I fully expect Joe Burrow to get essentially killed again this season. So if you're the Bengals, you're sitting there at 5. You got to get the best offensive lineman on the board. Now, there's some really good guys here. Rasheed Walker out of Penn State, Zion Nelson out of Miami. But Rasheed Walker, I think he's probably going to be the best bet, again, assuming Evan Neal's off the board. If the Bengals can somehow have a chance to draft Evan Neal, but then again, if he's on the board, they'll probably add another wide receiver, so I don't think Evan Neal's going to end up in Cincinnati. But again, if you're the Bengals, you got to address the offensive line. You got to make sure you protect Joe Burrow. So I think I got them going with Rasheed Walker, again, offensive tackle from Penn State. All right, we got the New York Jets picking at number 6 right now. They did a really good job upgrading the offense, I thought, this year. I thought they did a fantastic job. I think their offense is going to be a lot better. So I don't think they necessarily need to address that in the first round next year. Kayvon Thibodeau, this is a guy where he has a chance, depending on team needs and how he fares next season, he could be the number 1 overall pick. I see no reason why he can't. He definitely could be a top 3, top 5 pick. So if you're the Jets, you're sitting here at 6. He's still sitting there, which again, he's the number 1 overall prospect on this draft. If you can get the number 1 overall player at 6, I think it's a no-brainer. Again, Kayvon Thibodeau, this guy is as NFL ready as any of these defensive prospects. He could have come out this past year, and I think he still would have been a first-round pick. So if you're the Jets, again, you get a really good edge rusher in Kayvon Thibodeau. A smart move on their part. All right, we got the New York Giants picking at number 7. Again, I thought they did a really good job in improving their offense from the NFL draft. This is going to be a team where, if all goes well, I could see the Giants being a borderline 500 team in 2021. But again, they're sitting here at number 7. I think they go defense, and I think if they're sitting there at 7, linebacker is probably their biggest need. And Christian Harris, linebacker from Alabama, he's the best linebacker, in my opinion, in this upcoming NFL draft. So as of right now, again, I think they have a need for linebacker. Christian Harris, I think it's a smart fit, so I got them going there at number 7. All right, we got the Falcons picking at number 8 right now. They did a really good job addressing their offense. This is a team where, again, they're going to score points. Their defense just isn't all that good. So I think defense is definitely the position they address. There's some really good prospects on the board still. You got Kyle Hamilton, Ahmad Gardner, but I think Drake Jackson, edge from USC. I think the Falcons could really use a solid edge rusher. So Drake Jackson, USC, that's my pick right here. All right, up next we have the Denver Broncos. Again, this is a team where if they had a good quarterback, they'd be a playoff team. If they had Aaron Rodgers, they'd be potentially a Super Bowl contending team. So overall, I think this is a very good team. So it is kind of tough, especially if they're picking a 9, what position they necessarily need the most. But I think if you're sitting there at 9, you want to address the offensive line. And Zion Nelson, out of Miami, this is a guy where I wouldn't be shocked if he's the 2nd offensive lineman taken in this upcoming draft. I know a lot of people are really high on him. So if you're the Broncos, protect Drew Lock, if that's who your quarterback of the future is going to be. So again, address the offensive line. It's never a bad thing to do. And maybe Drew Lock has a really good season this upcoming year, and he shows that he's your quarterback of the future. Or you end up pulling off a trade for Aaron Rodgers, and you just want to protect Aaron Rodgers for the next couple of years. All right, we got the Giants sitting here at number 10. They have 2 first-round picks. Now, if they have 2 picks in the top 10, I think they're going to be very, very happy with that. Again, I still think if you're the Giants, you've got to improve your defense. We already got them going linebackers, so I think maybe cornerback would be another position that they could upgrade. Ahmad Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. This is a guy, I get he's at a group of 5 school, but he's a really, really good cornerback. Really looking forward to seeing how he performs this upcoming season. Cincinnati has some good games this year. They're going to be playing Notre Dame. They're going to be playing Indiana. So some really good competition to get some more film on Gardner. But if you're the Giants, again, you need a cornerback. 2 picks in the top 10. You can get 2 impact defensive players. And again, you can make the case this guy is maybe the second best cornerback in this entire draft class. Again, I think Derek Stingley's the best. But if you're getting the best linebacker and the second best corner in the first round, that's already an A+ draft. So I got the Giants going with Ahmad Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. All right, up next now, we got the Washington football team, and sitting there at number 11, I think this is a no-brainer. I think they got to go quarterback. Ryan Fitzmagic's not going to be there a year from now. Heineke, I don't think he's your answer long-term. And this is a Washington team that they can be a playoff contender this year. They just need a good quarterback. They need a young quarterback that they can develop. So if you're the Washington football team, again, it's just a matter of which one of these quarterbacks are you going to like next year. It could be any of these ones. I mean, at this point is going to be a crapshoot. I do like Kedon Slovis. I think Kedon Slovis has a really, really good chance to be a really good NFL quarterback. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if Kedon Slovis is quarterback 5 next year. I wouldn't be shocked if he's quarterback 2, quarterback 1 next year. So for the sake of this video, I got them going quarterback. Kedon Slovis is my next best available, and that's who we go with. Up next, we got the Vegas Raiders. They're sitting here at number 12. And again, this is a team I think they could potentially go quarterback. Derek Carr, his time is winding down. I just don't think he's the quarterback of the future. I don't think Marcus Mariota is the quarterback of the future either. So now it's just a matter of, again, which one of these quarterbacks can you see the Raiders going with? And this is where I got Malik Willis going. I know he's ranked as, the 195th prospect on this board, but he is climbing a bunch of mock drafts. A lot of people like him being one of the top quarterbacks off the board, so I got him being quarterback 4 off the board. Again, you can develop him under Derek Carr, have him sit a year or 2. I don't know how much longer Derek Carr's contract is with Vegas, so don't quote me on that, but I think Malik Willis, he's a good quarterback. Again, you could sit for a year or 2, have him learn under Derek Carr, and eventually when Derek Carr leaves, gets traded, whatever, you bring in Malik Willis, and he's the quarterback of the future for the Raiders. All right, the Panthers, again, this is a team that really improved their offense, and they're a team that's definitely on the come up, especially with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. Here, it's not necessarily a huge position in need, but Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame, I don't think he's going to slide to 13. I think this is a guy that's going to be a potential top 10, maybe even a top 5 pick, so I am kind of upset that I had him sliding all the way to 13. But again, if you're the Panthers, you can get, the number 5 overall prospect. I think it's a no-brainer. Again, Kyle Hamilton, this is a name to keep an eye on. Now, I don't think Kyle Hamilton necessarily is going to be, the first defensive player taken off the board. I don't think he's going to overtake, Derek Stingley and Kayvon Thibodeau, but maybe one of them. There's a chance maybe Kyle Hamilton can be the second defensive player taken off the board. So again, I really want to have him in my top 10. I just couldn't, especially with the quarterback run, but definitely a name to keep an eye on. But if you're the Panthers, what an absolute steal this would be at pick 13. All right, you got the Vikings sitting here at number 14. I thought they did a fantastic job trading back in the first round, getting Darius out of Virginia Tech. I thought that was huge for them. If you're the Vikings, I think they could improve their defense. Wasn't that great. It's not like what it's been in years past. So if you're the Vikings, improve your defense. There are some really good edge rushers here. I think that's probably where they go. So it's a matter of, do you like Brenton Cox from Florida or Zach Harrison from Ohio State? If we've seen anything in the NFL the last few years, it's the fact that edge rushers from Ohio State turn out to be fairly good. So Zach Harrison, I don't think he's necessarily going to be as good as the Bosa brothers or Chase Young, but still, he's going to be a first rounder. He has a chance to be really good. So I got the Vikings going with Zach Harrison at pick 14. The Cardinals are going to be an interesting position because I think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to be picking here at 15. As of right now, I think they could potentially use a cornerback, especially a year from now. And a guy like Darion Kendrick, I think, is a really, really good talent, really good young talent. So if he's sitting there, I like the fits. I like addressing corners. So we got the Cardinals going with Darion Kendrick there at pick 15. All right, we got the Steelers here at 16. Again, I don't know if they're necessarily going to be picking at 16. I think they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. Now, you know, the Steelers, they're a team where Big Ben, he doesn't have a whole lot of time. I know they just re-signed Mason Rudolph, and I guess you have to have a backup quarterback, but not a huge fan of him moving forward. If you're sitting here at 16, you probably did have a successful season. Not necessarily high enough to get one of these top quarterbacks, but again, there are a lot of really good quarterbacks still on this board. So if you're the Steelers, I got them going quarterback, and I like JT Daniels. I think JT Daniels definitely has a lot of potential. Again, very small sample size. What we saw last year at Georgia, 4 or 5 games, but he looked really good. He was a 5-star for a reason coming out of high school. So if you're the Steelers, I think they need to get a quarterback for the future. It's obviously not Mason Rudolph, so why don't you get yours in the first round here in JT Daniels? All right, we're sitting here at pick 17, and there still hasn't been a wide receiver taken yet, which again, it's really tough the way you do these mock drafts because obviously, you know, I think a wide receiver is definitely going to go before pick 17, but just on teams' need and how everything shapes out, I just didn't have a wide receiver going, so I think a wide receiver for the Patriots makes a whole lot of sense. Mac Jones needs someone to throw the ball to a year from now. The Patriots have some solid wide receivers, but they don't have necessarily a wide receiver one that you can count on moving forward. Now, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the pair of wide receivers from Ohio State, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. I think they're going to be wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 taken off the board. So now it's just a matter of who do I think is going to be wide receiver 1? As of right now, I am going to give the edge to Chris Olave. I think slightly he's the best wide receiver prospect in this upcoming NFL draft. So again, Patriots, you're getting the wide receiver 1 off the board when you're sitting there at pick 17. You know, we waited 17 picks to see the first wide receiver go off the board, and I don't think we're going to wait that much longer because I think another wide receiver is going to go one pick after. The Chargers, they had a phenomenal draft, and overall, I just think their team is put together very nicely. Justin Herbert, he's showed that he's going to be their quarterback of the future, so you might as well start getting him some more weapons. Overall, the Chargers don't have an awful wide receiving core, but I definitely think that they can upgrade moving forward. Again, Garrett Wilson, you can make the case that this guy is wide receiver 1 next year. He's a really, really talented wide receiver, so I got the Chargers going with Garrett Wilson there. Back-to-back wide receivers from Ohio State after waiting 17 picks to see one go off the board. All right, we got the Cowboys. They're sitting here number 19. Again, their offense is more than okay, so defense, that seems like the easy pick. I like Brenton Cox, edge rusher from Florida. Again, there's a chance that he could be the number 2 edge rusher in this class behind Kayvon Thibodeau, so I like him a lot, especially for the Cowboys. They took 2 to 3 linebackers from this past NFL draft, so if you're the Cowboys, address the edge. Again, Brenton Cox, really like him from Florida, so that's who I got the Cowboys taking. All right, the Eagles are on the clock again. Their second first rounder. I think defense is the smart move here. And looking at who's available, I like Bubba Bolden, safety out of Miami. I think the Eagles can use a safety a year from now. He's the best safety on this board by a good amount. Brandon Joseph is another name out of Northwestern to keep an eye on. I think this is a guy that can definitely be a first-round pick. I mean, he was the best player on defense, in my opinion, this past year at Northwestern. So this is definitely a name to keep an eye on that can go in the first round. But Bubba Bolden, I think he's the better safety available at this point. So I got the Eagles taking him here at pick number 20. All right, so we got the Tennessee Titans sitting here at number 21. Now, I think this is where we potentially can see the first tight end off the board, and that's going to be Jalen Weidermeyer, who is the tight end 1 in this upcoming NFL draft. I know there's some other solid names here, but Jalen Weidermeyer, this is a guy where keep an eye on him at Texas A&M this year. Now, obviously, he's not going to be anything like Kyle Pitts. I don't think we're going to see anything like Kyle Pitts for years to come, but this is a really, really good tight end prospect. I think it's safe to say that you can guarantee he's going to be the first tight end taken in next year's draft class. So the Titans, they lost their tight end this offseason. Not exactly certain as of right now who their tight end is going to be for 2021, but again, you're getting the best tight end in the class, and I think he's going to be a real difference maker in the NFL. All right, got the Colts picking here at number 22. Now, their offensive line isn't as strong as it has been in years past, but looks like they're going to have Jonathan Taylor for the foreseeable future, so you're going to need to make sure you do whatever you can to protect him, set up holes, and Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa, I think he's probably a solid option right here. Also, you can go with Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. I think those are 2 really reliable options. But Tyler Linderbaum, I'm going to give the slight edge to him, so we got the Colts going with him at pick number 22. All right, the Jets are picking here at number 23. They already got Kayvon Thibodeau way back at pick number 6, so a really good defensive pick right there. I think they go defense again. I think cornerback is probably the direction they go. And looking at the board right now for best cornerbacks available, Kaiir Elam, I definitely think he's probably the best bet because, we had a solid cornerback run earlier in this draft. I think we had three go in the top 15. So after that, I think Kaiir Elam is probably the fourth best, maybe the third best, again, depending on how you view these guys. But after that, it's going to be a while until you see some really solid corners. So Kaiir Elam, the Jets, again, you're getting the best edge rusher in this class, and you're getting one of the best corners. So I think that'd be a solid A+ draft. If you're the New York Jets. All right, up next we have my New Orleans Saints. Now, I absolutely hated how they went about their draft the other day. I thought wide receiver was their biggest need. I mean, after Michael Thomas, we've seen what happens if he goes down. I don't know exactly who Jameis Winston's going to be throwing the ball to. There were some really good wide receivers still on the board, and they just essentially passed on every single one of them until the 7th round when they took a guy out of South Alabama. So not exactly certain why the Saints didn't go wide receiver, and they also went with Ian Book in the 4th round. Now, I don't think the Saints necessarily needed to draft a quarterback. If they would have taken one in like the 6th or 7th round, I would have been fine with that. I thought Ian Book was a guy that was going to be going in the 6th or 7th round. I saw a lot of mocks that actually had him going undrafted. So I thought taking Ian Book, who I don't think is a very good quarterback, in the 4th round was an absolute reach. There's a chance he could develop into a really good quarterback, and if he does, I'll eat my words. But I just thought the Saints overall, I thought they had an absolutely awful draft. So looking at what they need right here, I have no clue what direction they're going to go in. There are some really good wide receivers on the board. I mean, Justin Ross, David Bell, John Mechie, George Pickens. I don't know why their rankings are so low. I think these are guys that potentially can be late 1st round, early 2nd round picks. But if I'm the Saints, John Mechie III, I don't know why he's ranked at 74. We've seen these Alabama wide receivers over the last few years and how just they succeed and how they're really, really good prospects. I got the Saints going wide receiver. They should have gone wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round from this past draft. They didn't. Again, without Michael Thomas, I don't know exactly who Jameis is going to be throwing the ball to. They don't have a deep wide receiving class whatsoever. So get a guy like John Mechie III, who I think is going to have a really good season for Alabama this season. I go with them at pick number 24. The Browns are going to be in an interesting situation as well. I think this is the final year of Odell's contract. Again, don't quote me on that, but I think it's the last year of his contract, and he just hasn't been the same over the last few years. So there's a chance he's gone. Jarvis Landry, he's a solid option, but I don't think he's exactly who you want as your wide receiver one moving forward. So if I'm the Browns, I think potentially wide receiver is a position they can address in the 1st round next year. Again, some really, really solid options here. I like George Pickens, wide receiver from Georgia. Again, not exactly certain why he's so low on these rankings, ranked number 95 overall. Don't quite get that whatsoever. I think he's going to finish a lot higher than that. Again, I think he has a chance to be a 1st rounder. So George Pickens, he's the pick for the Browns that are 25. All right, we got the Dolphins picking here at pick 26 right now. Now, they didn't address it. They did address it, but they didn't address it early enough where they got a starting running back in this past NFL draft. The Dolphins, they've been fantastic the last few years in regards to putting together the current team they have, especially they've been racking up so many draft picks. They're sitting here at 26. I think running back is the position they go with, especially if they have a late 1st round pick. There's some really, really good options early on. You got Isaiah Spiller, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame. As of right now, I got Isaiah Spiller as RB1 off the board. Again, a lot can change within the next year or so, but the Dolphins, they are going to need that running back one if they want to be a playoff contender for the next few years. They don't have one on their team right now. I don't think Myles Gaskin is the answer. So again, Isaiah Spiller, I got him as running back one. Again, as of May 3rd, 2020, a year from right now, it definitely can be one of these guys sliding up and being the 1st running back taken off the board. All right, up next we got the Ravens. This is a tough one for me to figure out. I definitely think they can address the offensive line. There are some really good prospects still available, still on the board. I like Jared Patterson out of Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame, they've just been an absolute juggernaut in regards to offensive lineman prospects over the last decade or so. So this is another good one, a guy who is definitely likely, in my opinion, going to be a 1st rounder. So get a really solid talent in Jared Patterson and just continue to keep Lamar Jackson safe. All right, we got the Lions picking again at number 28. Now, if you remember all the way back, I had them taking Sam Howell at number 1. If you're the Lions, I think you want to get Sam Howell as many weapons as possible. So definitely, I think wide receiver is the route they take. Again, there's some really good wide receiver prospects in next year's draft. Justin Ross, I know the talent is there. He really concerns me, you know, what he went through last year. I am a little worrisome for his NFL career. Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, I think he's a solid prospect. I'm shocked he's actually so high, ranked here at number 19. Out of all these wide receiver prospects still on the board, again, this is a year out. I'm sure a lot's going to change within the next year. But David Bell is a guy who I really like. I think that, in my opinion, he was better than Rondale Moore at Purdue. So David Bell, I think he's going to have a huge season for Purdue, and I think the Lions, I think you need to get a wide receiver. Again, continue to add weapons for your quarterback of the future, so I got them going with David Bell right there. All right, so you got the Packers. They're sitting here at 29. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is still on the team, they'll probably be taking a quarterback in the first round, but since we're not going to give them a quarterback, we're not going to be too rude to them. I think defense is probably the best bets for the Packers at this point. There's some solid names here on the board, some defensive tackles, some edge rushers. I think Aiden Hutchinson, edge from Michigan, I think he'd be a solid pick right here at number 29, because again, I think if the Packers are going to go anywhere in the first round, it's probably defense, and especially again somewhere on the D-line. So Aiden Hutchinson, he's the pick for the Packers there at 29. All right, you got the Bills picking here at 30. Now, they do have Stephon Diggs, but aside from that, their wide receiving core isn't the best. They have some solid options, but, you know, Cole Beasley, I think they added Emmanuel Sanders this offseason. Those are some older names, some guys that probably aren't going to be there a year from right now. So if you're the Bills, I think wide receiver is probably the position they address. And again, some really good options here. Justin Ross, I think the slide will end for him. Again, talent-wise, he's probably the best wide receiver in this class. It's just those health scares, you know, especially what he dealt with this past year. I don't know necessarily how long his NFL career is going to be, but again, the talent's there. You're getting him late in the first, where this is a guy that potentially can be, you know, a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in your system moving forward. So I got the Bills going with Justin Ross. All right, up next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I guess they're projecting it to be a Super Bowl rematch featuring the Buccaneers and the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch, but hey, stranger things have happened. Again, the Bucs, they have everyone returning from the Super Bowl winning team. But a year from right now, Leonard Fournette, don't know if he's going to be returning. Ronald Jones, don't know if they necessarily view him as the running back of the future moving forward. So get yourself a young running back prospect. There are two really good ones here in Breece Hall and Kyren Williams. I actually like Kyren Williams a little bit more than Breece Hall. Again, it's just kind of a matter of picking one or the other. Breece Hall very well could be the first running back taken, but I just like Kyren just a tad bit more. So I got the Buccaneers going with Kyren Williams there at pick number 31. And we got the Chiefs now picking at 32, the final pick of the first round. All right, so again, the Chiefs, they really don't have any desperate need at the moment because they are pretty solid everywhere. But if you're the Chiefs at 32, again, not exactly certain what their wide receiver situation is going to look like moving forward in the coming years. Obviously, they got Tyreek, but aside from that, you're going to need some solid weapons for Patty Mahomes moving forward. And you got Treylon Burks. He's still sitting here. Again, he's 19. He's the 19th overall prospect. He's a really good wide receiver prospect. There are just some other wideouts who I like a bit more. So again, if you're the Chiefs, you're sitting here with the last pick. I think wide receiver is the move, and this is a guy where, again, you can make the case he's a top 3 wide receiver in next year's draft class. So I think that's a smart pick right there. Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, and the Chiefs get him. And that ends our first round. Let's look at our full results right here, in case you just want to take a quick look at how exactly the draft panned out. Again, my way too early 2022 NFL mock draft. I don't know how many picks are going to be first rounders next year. Again, don't go getting the pitchforks ready in the comments. This is all in good fun. This is just based off of what I have right now, what the order looks like, where prospects are ranked. So again, this is all in good fun, but let me know in the comments below what you thought of this mock draft. Let me know certain players that you think might slide their way into the first round. Let me know what players on this list you don't think are going to be first round picks. And let me know what you think about the quarterback class, because like I said, I don't think it's necessarily as talented as this year's was, but I think this is a deeper quarterback class because, like I said, there are definitely 8 or 9 guys I could see going in the first 2 or 3 rounds. So again, drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the mock draft. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I post a lot of college football content, and leading up to the college football season, there will be a whole bunch. So if you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a long video, but I appreciate if you stuck it out all the way to the end. It really does mean a lot. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.